Hello, I'm David Rose, and here's a look at some of our cases featured this weekend with Crime Stoppers and Washington's Most Wanted. Starting with the search for a convicted felon who has a violent past, now accused of committing several new recent crimes. So take a look at our top fugitive this weekend. His name is Tony Smithee. He likes to be called TJ. I'm going to call him Little Tony. He's known as a short guy with a bad temper. He's wanted in King County for several charges, starting with harassment after Auburn police say he incited a vicious assault in February.
Tony and his friend were walking. They met another male that was known to them. Tony threatened to kill that male and kind of instigated a fight. The second subject that Tony was with ended up punching this victim in the face and ended up breaking his nose and his orbital socket. Went down to the ground. Tony and the co-defendant left the area.
When Auburn police arrested Smithee 2 weeks later, officers found a sawed-off shotgun on him tucked into his pants. And since he has a criminal history in Oklahoma and Arkansas that includes a felony battery conviction, he cannot legally have a gun. Prosecutors have charged him with unlawful possession of a short-barreled firearm. Smithee was released from jail on March 4th, and by the end of the month, he'd been arrested again after police say he was caught trying to steal a truck in Auburn. He got out of jail on March 31st. Now he's wanted on a bench warrant after he failed to appear in court.
We want to catch this guy bad. We want to get him off the streets. We know that he has the tendency to get into physical altercations. And again, he's threatened to kill this guy. The victim believed that it was true and was afraid for his life, which is why he tried to walk away. And as he was walking away is when the second subject punched him in the face, knocking him to the ground.
Tony Smithee, or TJ, or Little Tony as I call him, is 23 years old, 5 feet 4 inches tall, weighs 130 pounds. He's got a mean streak a mile wide, though. Ton of tattoos, including those large stars you see on his chest. Detectives say he's known to be homeless in the Auburn area. If you spot him, call 911 and then immediately submit a tip to Crime Stoppers so you can get the cash reward of up to $1,000. You can use the P3 Tips app on your cell phone or call 1-800-222-TIPS. A masked man on a motorcycle, a power drill, a blowtorch, and a bank ATM. That sets the scene for a wild theft case that Yelm police are hoping you can help solve. The suspect pulled up on his street bike and then tried to drill and torch his way into a money machine. This video is from the TwinStar Credit Union on West Yelm Avenue at around 3:30 a.m. on April 9th. Detectives say the crook didn't get away with a single cent, but he did more than $300,000 worth of damage to that ATM.
The gentleman first took out a cordless Makita drill, and he tried to use a drill to gain access into the machine. When that was unsuccessful, he pulled what we believe to be like an acetylene torch and tried to gain access using the torch, which did not grant him access as well. But that's what caused the most damage to the machine. And then after that, he gets off of his motorcycle, puts his backpack on, and then rides away heading towards the Nisqually Casino area.
He left behind a burning ATM that really could have been worse. You first see some smoke billowing out and then a big red flame flickering from that machine. Now, thankfully, detectives say the fire went out on its own, but the ATM was a total loss and had to be replaced. Detective DeVore is hoping to hear from motorcycle buffs who recognize the style and brand of the suspect's red and black street bike. Another clue to focus on is the suspect's military-style clothing.
We can see that he has a specific jacket on with specific patches that are on it. And it's a unique helmet that he's wearing as well that we believe that should be identified by somebody on Washington's Most Wanted or Crime Stoppers. We would really like to catch this gentleman because it doesn't make any sense. It's a crime that realistically anybody that's aware of how the ATMs are, they're not going to get anything out of them. And in this day and age, it was an act of more just vandalism and frustration on our part.
Detectives think the suspect is white, around 6 feet tall, and he's wearing that jacket that's pretty noticeable. Young police say it's likely he has military experience. The jacket, the bike, the blowtorch, the drill, any of it could be clues into who he is. So take a close look at all these photos. If you know this suspect, you will remain anonymous when you submit a tip to Crime Stoppers of the South Sound, and they'll pay you a cash reward of up to $1,000 if that tip leads to his arrest. So call 1-800-222-TIPS or use the P3 Tips app that you can download to your cell phone for free. Tonight, Lacey police need your help to identify an armed robbery suspect who really seemed to be in no hurry. Take a look at him just sitting there, all relaxed on the front counter of the Quality Inn on College Street Southeast in Lacey last Saturday night. He has a gun in his hand and he's demanding money from the lobby register. He spent several minutes chatting it up with the front desk clerk, asking if there were rooms for rent before he pulled out a silver handgun. Then he nonchalantly climbs over the counter, sits down, waits for the worker to open the till, and then drops down and takes all the cash before pulling himself back over the counter, leisurely just walking out the front door and heading across the street. Detectives say his behavior and the bandana he was wearing are disturbing signs of the times right now.
These people are able to wear masks a little bit more easily and hide their identity due to the times that we're in. If someone's walking in with a mask before all this started, it would be rather alarming, but it seems to be the norm.
Well, detectives say the suspect's Hispanic, in his 20s, short. He had a line shaved through his right eyebrow. He wore white tennis shoes, that red bandana across his face, a black hoodie, and a black ball cap with T2P in white lettering on the front. Seems to be a pretty unique hat. It's hard to find online to buy. If you know a guy that sports a black T2P hat who fits the description of this suspect, Crime Stoppers wants to give you a cash reward of up to $1,000. You will remain anonymous. Submit that information to Crime Stoppers of the South Sound right now. You can also send photos of the suspect through the P3 Tips app or call 1-800-222-8477. Well, Seattle police and the FBI are working on a nationwide task force out of Denver to catch a serial armed robbery suspect known as the Stay Home Bandit. He's wanted in Seattle for an armed robbery at a movie theater. This is surveillance video of the suspect with black tape on his face and his hat. Detectives have now identified him as Lloyd Eugene Rhodes. Police say he threatened to shoot an employee at a movie theater during an armed robbery in the U District last September. He was there waiting when employees showed up to work. And that is the same MO police say he's used in more than 13 other armed robberies, entering a business before it closes, hiding, and then waiting until employees arrive the next day. The FBI's Rocky Mountain Safe Streets Task Force is calling him the Make Yourself at Home Bandit and says Rhodes has hit multiple different restaurants, nightclubs, and movie theaters in Denver, Iowa, Nebraska, Arizona, Tennessee, and St. Matthews, Kentucky.
Has he stopped? No. According to our information, the most recent one is in Marysville, Pennsylvania. The thing that continues to haunt us, in a lot of these cases, he's taken the victim's car with him. So he's driving it, he's changing plates, he steals other cars. This guy knows what he's doing, but he's going to slip up, and when he does, we're going to catch him.
Detectives say he knows people in the Seattle area. He has contacts in Washington, and they want to hear from you. Lloyd Rhodes is 57 years old, 5 feet 5 inches tall, weighs 185 pounds. Crime Stoppers of Puget Sound is offering a cash reward of up to $1,000 for any information that leads to his arrest. And the FBI has raised the reward to $15,000 if you know how to find him. And you will remain anonymous. Boy, you sure could use a lot of that money in your pocket. You don't even have to give your name. You just call in a tip to tell them how to find him at 1-800-222-TIPS or through the P3 Tips app. Now take a look at a couple of credit card skimming suspects wanted in Yakima tonight. Police say the pair used counterfeit cards to withdraw money from a bank ATM in the city late last month. Detectives say they're getting victims' credit card information from illegal skimming machines that have been secretly set up at multiple gas stations in Yakima. The tiny devices are hard to detect when you're paying at the pump. It's another case to remind people to pay close attention to the card readers you're using at gas stations. Yakima police say the same man and woman are suspected of pulling a similar scam in Kitsap County as well. If you recognize either of them, you will remain anonymous when you submit a tip to Crime Stoppers. And you also get a cash reward of up to $1,000 if that tip leads to their arrest. Call 1-800-222-TIPS or use the P3 Tips app that you can download to your cell phone for free. Well, you really have to feel for the clerks that work at a gas station in the Midland area of Pierce County. After one was shot in the chest last December and barely survived, and now a different store employee has been robbed there at gunpoint. So take a look at this surveillance video from the most recent case at the Chevron on Portland Avenue East. This was Wednesday, April 8th. Let me zoom in here, slow it down to show you this armed robber's face, give you a good chance to identify him. He's got that red bandana on, but you can see his eyes there. He's kind of got some Vulcan eyebrows. This guy is Mr. Chill, very calm and collected, but he's also armed with some kind of long gun wrapped in cloth.
What he did is he came in and he wanted the cash and all the Newport cigarettes. So we're looking for somebody that's either selling Newport cigarettes or smokes Newport cigarettes or both and has the cash. And when this suspect went in, he was wearing a mask. Unfortunately, a lot of people are wearing masks these days, and bad guys are taking advantage of it, putting the mask on and blending right in, and people aren't thinking twice about who's coming in the door because a lot of people are covered up.
Well, detectives say this bandit is possibly in his 30s. He's about 6 feet tall with a medium build. If you can identify him, Crime Stoppers of Tacoma Pierce County will pay you a cash reward of up to $1,000. You will remain anonymous by sending any photos or information you have through the P3 Tips app that you can download to your cell phone for free. I mentioned that Chevron in the Midland area is the same store where a clerk was shot there last year. He barely survived, and the suspect in that case has still not been identified. That suspect was all covered up, but I want you to listen to his voice as he threatens the clerk before shooting him. Maybe now somebody watching tonight will recognize it.
All right. I'm registered. Put your head down, go register. Grab it. Money bag too. No, that you can't go. Get the money bag too. No. The check here. Get the money bag. Check. I'll shoot you. Get the money bag. This register. Open the other register. Grab it. Just like bitch. No, grab it. No love, buddy. Shoot you. Grab it. Grab it. Here's that check, bro. Open it. All that he checking. No way.
Well, detectives say that suspect is the same one who robbed and shot a 7-Eleven store clerk in the leg on South Tacoma Way one day earlier. Police describe him as a thin black man. He appears to be wearing those purple nitrile exam gloves, which you can easily order online. Officers say he ordered the clerk in Tacoma at the 7-Eleven to give him some money.
The clerk gave him money, and then he wanted him to open the other till. The clerk was attempting to open something and was moving too slowly for the robber, so the robber shot him.
Well, that clerk did survive as well. The suspect took off on foot eastbound on 74th Avenue. Crime Stoppers of Tacoma Pierce County will pay you a cash reward of up to $1,000 in this case as well. If you know who this suspect is wanted in those two robbery shootings. That's a look at some of the cases we're featuring this weekend. To see the rest, join me for Washington's Most Wanted tonight at 11 o'clock on Q13 Fox. Saturday night at 9:30 on Joe TV and 10:30 on Q13 Fox. And we are a statewide crime-fighting machine. Tune in, Yakima, Tri-Cities, and Spokane, 10:30 on our Fox television station partners there. And together, let's make sure these criminals have nowhere left to hide.